My dear brothers and sisters, indeed, after almost 13 months of a brutal, genocidal war being subjugated and waged against our brothers and sisters in Gaza, one cannot find the right words to describe what is happening not to the Muslim Ummah, but to humanity in general. Though in one side we see advancement in the technology, in civilization, in the human perspective of dealing with one another, we've come even to advanced, sophisticated level as humans that we created bodies that are supposed to be governing the international humanity living on Earth, which is the United Nations. We have something called the International Court of Justice. Yet there is, despite of all that, a failure in our morals and principles. There is something corrupt that is taking humanity in general into a path that could lead us to be entitled for the adab of Allah Azza wa Jalla. ترى كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد. Did you not see what your Lord have done to Ad? Those who were advanced in their technology, that no one was like them at their own time. So there is something going on. As a result of that, Allah Azza wa Jal will be sending someone or a group so that they are able to do the job of bringing back humanity to the haqq. As Allah Azza wa Jal said in the Quran, وَلَوْ اتَّبَعَ الْحَقُّ أَهْوَاءَهُمْ لَفَسَدَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ. If the haqq were to follow the desires of those corrupt people and individuals, then the skies and the earth and what is between them will be corrupted. And what we're seeing nowadays, despite of how bleak situation is in Gaza and in Lebanon and in the surrounding areas, despite of how bleak this is, we're also seeing a blink of a hope. We're seeing something that is causing us to see clearly through what is happening in the whole world. We're seeing Al-Fadhiha, Surah Al-Tawbah, being alive once again to tell us who is who and to show us who's on the right path. And this is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, لا تزال طائفة من أمتي على الحق ظاهرين لعدوهم قاهرين لا يضرهم من خاذلهم ولا من خالفهم. There will be a group of my ummah على الحق ظاهرين. They are not on the haqq. They are not living the haqq. They are riding on the haqq. على الحق ظاهرين. Clearly and obviously demonstrating the haqq. يعدوهم قاهرين لا يضرهم. They're not being affected by those who are behind the scenes calling on them to call it off, stop doing what you're doing, save their lives, nor those who are mukhadhilin, who are stabbing them from behind them in the back seats. The people of Gaza right now are not only fighting for their own justice. The people of Gaza are not standing for their own justice. The people of Gaza are standing for the principles and moral values of humanity in general. What we're seeing right now in Palestine is an old ideology that is called colonialism, that was exercised from the early 15th century, which by Europe felt the need for expansion and more power, So they come up with this idea of, by the name of religion, we can invade more lands and incorporate them into our own power and domain and call them as our own. This ideology extended to the 19th century to the land we're standing on right now. The land we're standing on right now belongs to the indigenous people. They are the true owners of this land. And we are seeing the same ideology, outdated ideology, that is proven to be dysfunctional, being once again exercised and implemented in the land of Palestine. And it is the people of Gaza who have taken upon themselves to stand against this corrupt, wrong ideology and fight it back so that they can save the principle and moral values of humanity. When you contrast what took place in the 15th and the 19th century, you will see a big similarity between what has taken place in the past and what is happening right now. When the first settlers came to the land we're living in right now, they had the upper hand, they had the force, they had the power, so they brutally killed and conquered the indigenous land and killed so many people. They deliberately have spreaded infectious diseases for them and killed not thousands but millions. They have deliberately also tried to reduce and make it difficult for the indigenous people to be able to live their life by killing the animals and the sources of livelihood that the people of the land were surviving on. When you look to what's happening right now in Gaza, you will see the same ideology being exercised, but with a different way to meet up the advanced technology. A siege was placed on Gaza for 17 years. And for the past 13 months or so, we've been seeing also a cruel way of preventing the aid and supplies of food and medication from reaching the civilians of Gaza. We've been also seeing a deliberate targeting to the workers who are delivering these aids to those who deserve it and needs it the most to be able to survive, from the children, the women, the elders in Gaza. We're also seeing a similar pattern in terms of the way that diseases are brought back once again to Gaza that was extinguished from the whole universe, the whole world. These diseases are coming back once again to Gaza, like polio and infectious diseases. And one would be surprised. Are we seeing the same patterns that was exercised a century ago right now once again in Gaza? Yes, deliberately we're seeing that being exercised again. In the past, there was no media to report and capture the magnitude of the ugly war that was waged against the indigenous people here in this part of the world or in other parts of the world. And nowadays, we are seeing mass media that could potentially be covering everything happening in any inch almost on this planet we're living in. Yet, we are seeing corrupt media that deliberately justifies for the corrupt leaderships of the world to continue to play a blind role and be dumb and deaf and mute on what is happening on a daily basis to the civilians in Gaza. Every time you turn to certain news outlets, our blood boils, we become frustrated and we become so angry, and we wonder, are these images not seen by the leaderships of the world? Are these these children who are killed in front of their own parents? Are these parents and mom who are killed in front of their own children? Not a human being have the same flesh and blood that we have? Do they not have the same mentality and psychology that we have? Are they not precious to their own families? And their families are not precious to them? As we feel the connection between us and our children? Yes, this is a reality. But the whole world is playing dumb and does not want to admit the fact that there's a genocidal war taking place in the land of Palestine. No one is willing to accept the resolutions of the courts of justice that there is an occupation in the land of Palestine that needs to end. Settlements needs to dismantle it. No one is paying attention to the resolutions. No one is willing to accept them from these coward leaders of the world who continue to support the aggressors with more sophisticated bombs to continue to target civilians who are living in what's so-called safe zones, in tents, and throw bombs that are so massive and huge that create a huge hole in the sand that drags people with it down to the earth. This is the reality we're living in right now. This is how ugly the situation is. Despite of how ugly it is, and despite of how bleak the situation is, we always find the hope coming to us from this beautiful being of Allah. And this is what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had indicated, that تزال طائفة من أمتي على الحق ظاهرين لعدوهم الطاهرين. And when I say لعدوهم الطاهرين, I do not by any means to be misquoted by saying I am endorsing or supporting certain groups. But I'm talking about the civilians in the northern parts of Gaza who have digested and understood and comprehended fully the ayat from the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, in which He said, أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ خَرَجُوا أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الْأُلُوفِ الَّذِينَ خَرَجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ حَذَرَ الْمَوْتِ فَقَالَ لَهُمُ اللَّهُ مُوتُوا ثُمَّ أَحْيَاهُمْ. They have comprehended that life and death comes from Allah. فَإِذَا جَاءَ أَجْلُهُمْ لَا يَسْتَأْخِرُونَ سَاعَةً وَلَا يَسْتَقْدِمُونَ. يَا غُلَامْ اعْلَمْ لَوْ أَنَّ الْأُمَّةَ قَدْ اجْتَمَعُوا عَلَى أَنْ يَنْفَعُوكَ أَوْ يَضُرُّوكَ لَمْ يَنْفَعُوكَ وَلَمْ يَضُرُّوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَهُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ وَلَكَ. They have comprehended that our parents have lived an Nakba that have caused misery for them for over 76 or 78 years. We're not going to live another Nakba. We're going to change the narrative to the whole world and say that in the 21st century, where we're living in an advanced environment, and old ideology like communism should not be taking the lives of people from living peacefully in their own lands. That's what the people of us are doing. Almost 2 million are doing the job for 2 billion. They're supposed to be defending the land of Al-Masjid al-Aqsa. The 1% or 10% is doing the job of the whole ummah that's supposed to be doing. Are they bothered? لا يضرهم من خالفهم ولا من خذلهم. They're not concerned about those who stand against them being on the haq, nor against those who stab them in the back and will say, go ahead, finish the job. Do you need food supply? You got it. But for the people of Gaza, not even a bottle of water will be permitted to make its way to the children of Gaza. This is the reality we're living in. In spite of all that, we need to be confident that those who are living في بيت المقدس وأكناف بيت المقدس will be not only saving the Muslim Ummah, will be saving the humanity to stand up once again for its moral principles and values. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing as a result of the engagement in social media from almost every single city in the world. We're seeing young people who are saying enough is enough. We're fed up with this corrupt, old political systems that's manipulated and twisted and hijacked and abused by different advocacy groups. We need to create our own advocacy groups in which we're able to empower the haqq. The haqq that would make the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal pleased. And that's exactly what the people of Gaza are waiting for every single one of us in this part of the world. Do not allow the depression and intimidation and fear to creep to your heart. There's a lot you can do by looking at these children who are standing firm in their land and saying, we are not going to move away. We're willing to die in our own land, but to leave it and not to stand for us to live ourselves. We want all not to feel fatigue. We don't want to feel bored. We don't want to give up because we cannot afford it. The people of Gaza cannot afford it. And humanity in general cannot afford it. We need to be engaged in advocacy work. And whatever civilian means, we need to stand up and firmly express our own anger to those politicians who have no concern or no fear except in their own positions and say to them, one day history will remember you, but when you will be remembered, you will be remembered as a coward, ruthless individuals who have allowed civilians to be killed for no justification. You have contributed by the support and aid to the war machine that's cleansing the indigenous people in Gaza and in Palestine from their own lands. There's a lot we can do in a civil manner within our rights as Canadians and within the constitutional rights of this country and bring back Canada to its original perspective as a peace broker country. We say to our government, what you're doing is you're stabbing your own principles and values. We are Canadians, we're proud to be Canadians, and we want Canada to come back again to its own principles and moral values. We want to stand for the principle and moral values of Canada by preventing the killing of civilians in Gaza, by the killing of civilians in Al-Rafah and in Lebanon. There is no need for more stealing to the lands and building more settlements. There is a need to acknowledge the right of the human beings to be able to live with integrity and dignity in their own land. There's a lot we can do by turning to Allah Azza wa Jalla, like what your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has done. In the most critical stage in the history of Islam, in the Battle of Uhud, in the Battle of Badr, when Allah Azza wa Jalla the Mighty gave him clearly the promise that he will be conquering. وَإِذْ يَعِدْكُمُ اللَّهُ إِحْدَى الطَّائِفَتَيْنِ أَنَّهَا لَكُمْ وَتَوَدُّونَ أَنَّ غَيْرَ ذَاتِ الشَّوْكَةِ تَكُونُ لَكُمْ وَيُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُحِقَّ الْحَقَّ. That's what it is. Allah Azza wa Jalla is the haqq and wants to place the haqq and as a principle among the humans of this earth we're living in. Your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam spent the whole night praying to Allah Azza wa Jalla the Almighty, to the point that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu came from behind him and said to him, كَفَاكَ مُنَاجَاتَكَ رَبُّكَ فَإِنَّهُ مُنْجِزُكَ مَا وَعَدَكَ. Enough, Ya our beliefs in sleep overnight. Our lifestyles changing as a result of what's happening to our brothers and sisters in the faith and in humanity. When you go outside and see those who are hitting the streets and demonstrating and shouting, you will see a great percentage of them are not Muslims. They are human beings with principles and moral values. If they are hitting the roads and doing what needs to be done by yourself and you're not doing anything, you need to question yourself whether you're on the right side or you are on the wrong side of this equation. You need also to exercise the wisdom that Allah will have given to you. The haq that has been given you in your hand. وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يَأْتِيَ يَوْمٌ لَا بَيْعٌ فِيهِ وَلَا خُلَّةٌ وَلَا شَفَاعَةٌ. Yes, indeed, reaching the aid or delivering the aid to us that is extremely difficult, is very dangerous. People who are doing it are being exposed to death and seeing death in their own eyes. Yet that should not prevent us from doing whatever we're able to do, and whatever means we're able to do within the legal organizations that we have here, so we're able to send whatever support we're able to these people, so that they are standing in the house, or defending the land of Palestine, defending the land of the Masjid al-Aqsa, doing the job that we're all supposed to be doing. Share what Allah has given to you. Share it in a way that you feel that you're helping. I know how difficult this is for me, and I know how difficult the process of delivering the money to these people, but I put my trust in you and I trust in those brothers and sisters who are able to do this job on my behalf. Do not dishonor. Do not allow the fear to come into your heart. Do not be intimidated, because as the people of Gaza are going in a physical war, we are here going through a virtual war. Many of us have been intimidated in their work environment or their study environment or academic environment by others around them, and send the message to them: if you continue to speak, then we will cut off your rizq. We will be affecting your academic life. And they fail to understand that what الرزق وفي السماء رزقكم وما توعدون. That the rizq comes from Allah Azza wa Jalla, Almighty, not from you, the pathetic individual in this life or in this world. Keep your trust and faith in Allah as well. Continue to stand for what you believe in. If those who are from outside the faith have lost their own job, or that have lost and been affected in their academic life, it is you as a Muslim should be in the front line and setting a role models for everyone around you, that in the rizq, that rizq is from Allah Azza wa Jalla. And the mighty Allah is the one who provides. May Allah Azza wa Jalla Almighty have rahmah for the people of Gaza. May Allah Azza wa Jalla Almighty pour the patience and the sabr in their hearts, and may Allah Azza wa Jalla help them to continue to finish that job and mission that they were assigned to and chosen for, to save not only the people of Palestine and the Muslim Ummah, but the humanity from the path that it is going to. And Allah Azza wa Jalla help us to be able to stand for them and support them with whatever means we're able to do for now, and we should do. What will we have our stuff live? ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. ان الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا ايها الذين امنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم، وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم في العالمين انك حميد مجيد. اللهم انا عبيدك ابناء عبيدك ابناء امائك نواصينا يا رب بيدك، ماض يا رب فينا حكمك، عدل فينا قضاؤك. نسألك الله بكل اسم ولك سميت به نفسك، أنزلته في كتابك أو علمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك بأن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا يا الله. اللهم اجعله جلاء للمؤمن وأحسن يا رب العالمين. اللهم يا سامع الصوت ويا سابق الفوت ويا كاسي العظام لحما بعد الموت، اللهم صل على نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعل لنا من أمورنا هذه جميعا مخرجا وفرجا يا رب العالمين. اللهم نسألك بجلالك يا جبار، اللهم نسألك بجلالك يا جبار بأن ترحم إخواننا في فلسطين. اللهم ثبت أقدامهم، اللهم أنزل سكينة وطمأنينة عليهم، اللهم أيدهم بجند من عندك، اللهم اجعل كلمة الذين كفروا السفلى وكلمتك هي العليا يا عزيز يا حكيم. اللهم وفقنا للنصرة يا رب العالمين، اللهم وفقنا للنصرة المستضعفين في الأرض، اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا ووحد صفوفنا وانزع الوهن من قلوبنا ووفقنا لنصرة دينك فإنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم يا جبار السماوات والأرض، يا من هزمت الأحزاب عليك بأحزاب الكفر يا جبار. اللهم إن أطفال فلسطين، اللهم إن ثكالى فلسطين، اللهم إن الأرامل والشيوخ في فلسطين لا حول لهم ولا قوة إلا بك يا جبار. اللهم فثبت أقدامهم، اللهم انصرهم، اللهم ارحمهم، اللهم وفقنا للصديق يا رب العالمين. اللهم نسألك بجلالك يا أرحم الراحمين بأن تكتب لنا الصلاة في المسجد الأقصى آمنين مطمئنين فإنك على كل شيء قدير. Ya Allah, we pray to supplicate to you to restore justice and peace on earth, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, we supplicate to you and pray to you. We have brothers and sisters in Palestine, we have brothers and sisters in Lebanon, we have brothers and sisters in Sudan, in Kashmir, in Myanmar, in China, in different parts of the world. Ya Allah, they have no one to stand for them except you, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, alleviate their suffering, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, feed their hunger. Ya Allah, heal those who are wounded. Ya Allah, free those who are captive. Ya Allah, restore justice and peace on earth, Ya Arhamar Rahimin.